morning, everybody. Welcome back to Morning Mumble. And today we're going to talk about, the fear of failure and learning from our mistakes, and what sort of impact it has on our lives and our mental health when we are able to when we experience failure and when we've made mistakes, how we react and how it affects our mental health and abilities. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I've read a few books, or several books on entrepreneurship and leadership and just various other things. One of the things that you see repeated over in these books is learning how to fail and fail fast. Excuse me. And then recover from that failure and try again. When you read several books from several different perspectives and authors, and you hear the same message repeated or echoed through the pages, you just kind of have to sit there and wonder, if there really is anything to this. As a young entrepreneur myself, I can tell you there most certainly is something to this, something to failing and accepting failure, not as a negative thing in your life, but as a positive occurrence and a great learning opportunity. And when you can view failure in that light, then it'll have such a significant impact on your mental health and ability to overcome challenges and obstacles in your life. We're not always going to win the first time around, but as long as we can learn from the mistakes and get up and try it again, we haven't truly failed. We just found another way of not doing something, how not to do something. So accepting failure as a possibility, making peace with the fact that it is inevitable, it is key to success as a young entrepreneur. And most importantly about your ability to accept failure is to learn from it and to not be discouraged and trying again. Take that newfound knowledge with you and try again. That is probably the most critical component, is that right there. And another thing that I've heard repeated several times also is to fail and fail fast, which what they're referencing is hurry up and get that failure out of the way so you can learn and progress. And I found that to be equally as important. And when you go ahead and get that one out of the way, it's pretty nice, because you no longer have that fear. That fear has subsided. It's gone. You've experienced it, and you've found out that you can live from it. So you have nothing to fear. It's when we view it as a negative in our lives, and we fail to learn from it. We fail to learn from our failures. That's when we're discouraged and defeated, and we don't get back up, and we don't try again, and we convince ourselves that we're not good enough, and that we're not smart enough, and we talk down to ourselves, and that's the sort of stuff that keeps us suppressed, you know. When you can view that failure as a positive, as an opportunity, well, then it no longer has that power to negatively affect you, and you have lost that anxiety that it comes with the thought of failure as a negative. You've overcome that, and you have grown as an individual at that point when you are able to do that. But there are folks out there that can't accept failure. Like, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, is failing. And that's unfortunate, because that's something that was taught to us at a very young age, that, you know, you got to color within the lines. You can't do this, or, you know, that's not right, or how dare you, that's wrong. You know, you better get good grades, or man, you better not fail this test. You know, that's quite literal right there. So these are things that we're taught as a kid, and the sort of things that carry over into our adult life. For some reason, we're not able to rationalize the fact that failure is okay, and we just hold on to that misconceptions that we were taught as a child. And I feel for those folks. Because when you're able to accept failure as a positive, your life is changed forever. Your view on the world is completely changed, and you know, for the positive. So the effects that accepting failure as a positive and learning opportunity have on your mental health are great, and they are such great confidence boosters. When you don't fear failure, you have all the confidence in the world. But if you don't have that faith and that mentality, then you're always going to fear that, and you'll be paralyzed by it. You'll be unable to take any sort of action, because you will be so afraid to fail that you don't even start to begin with. You're so afraid of failure that you don't even start, and that is the biggest failure of them all. The second part of that is learning from your mistakes, which in a way is sort of failing. However, learning from your mistakes doesn't have to be a mistake doesn't have to be a failure. It just can be a mistake, and you learn from that. However, there are folks that have a hard time learning from their mistakes because they don't truly believe that they were wrong to begin with. And that's a very dangerous mentality to have. And those are the same sort of people that thinks they're smarter than the boss, that thinks they can do things better, which to an extent they might be, but they're so overly confident in the fact that they're smarter than the person they're working for, they decide to branch out on their own and start their own company. And they go from working in 8-hour days, having their weekends off with full benefits and insurance and retirement plan, to working 16-hour days, including weekends, and no insurance, and making less money. And that's the same type of person that just never accepts the reality that they're not cut out to be a business owner. You know, they're not cut out to be their own employer or an employer. You know, they haven't learned from that mistake. It's that thinking that you're the smartest person in the room all the time, that your ideas are always the best ideas, that you're never wrong. That sort of mentality, that's the mentality that prevents us from learning from our mistakes. When I was in college, I was a pretty quiet guy. Typically still am, but one time I was sitting in the back of class, and these two younger guys, they're always horse playing and stuff. One day they kind of looked over at me and said, "Hey man, you don't really talk too much." And I said, "Yeah, you tend to learn a lot more with your mouth shut." Yeah, they were pretty much quiet the rest of that class, and it's true. After the fact, they came up to me and they said, "You know what, man, you're right. We actually did learn quite a bit. We had a hard time before understanding this, but that's probably because we were talking so much." There's truth in it. You learn more with your mouth shut. Sitting back and listening and observing a situation is a wonderful thing, and it allows us to absorb our environment and really learn. The other thing that allows us to learn from our mistakes and accept failure as a positive is letting our egos go. We tend to let our egos get in the way a lot, and they actually really restrict our progress. You can't really learn much when you've got a big ego. So if I was to give any bit of advice, and this is only advice, my opinions, people, if they're ever going to grow as a person and a member of the global society, must learn to let their egos go and be willing to just listen. Because when you're able to do that, you're able to hear the thoughts and ideas and opinions of those around you. That's the thoughts, ideas, and opinions of another human being, one of the smartest creatures on this planet. It might be worth a listen. you get a different perspective on the same situation. You get to see things from someone else's eyes. You know, much like reading a book. You can read a 150-page book in, a matter of hours, and you can learn from years of someone else's experiences in a matter of hours. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. But we can't do that unless we let go of our egos and we're willing to listen. So, until we're able to do that, you never learn from your mistakes. You always go through life thinking that you just have bad luck and everybody else is so much dumber than you and you're so much smarter, but for some reason you have bad luck and that's why you're unsuccessful. That's just lying to yourself. And if there's one person on this planet that you should be honest with, it should certainly be yourself. So, in order to change your mind and how you view the world, you must let go of your ego and be willing to learn from others. When you're able to do that, you can learn from the mistakes you've made, and you'll accept failure as a positive, and your life will never be the same. By the way, guys, if you've enjoyed this and all the others series, just go and smash that like button. And if you don't, smash the dislike button. Let me know about it. Put your opinions down there in the comment section. What do you think about failure? What is some of the biggest failures you've had? And, did you learn from them? And if you did, what did you learn? Anyways, guys, that's gonna be the end of it here for us. Like I said, if you enjoyed the video, let me know by smashing that like button. It really helps get the video out in front of more people, and it really helps me out, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it. So thanks for coming back and supporting the channel. If you guys have any ideas or thoughts about what we should talk about, what you want to hear about, please by all means leave a comment down below. So appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for supporting the channel. And peace.